Okay, hi Lane. I want to make this video because I think that actually I think you're kind of falling off track a little bit here with the project. Let me describe what I mean. Okay, so back in week one, you had described that you wanted to do the Winter Olympics in LA and Los Angeles, and I had described I had explained to you that that's not a good choice for the Winter Olympics because Los Angeles can't accommodate a winter project. So during week two, you went ahead and changed your concept to Kiruna, Sweden. And that was good. I thought that was good. And then during week three, you gave some sketches with the igloos and you talked about the ice, I think it was the ice castle or the ice hotels. And following along that reasoning, I thought that that was still following with the Kiruna, Sweden. Okay, all is good so far. Now we jump into week four, and there's a couple of things I want to describe in week four. Okay, it looks like you submitted something here um, in the submissions for week four, assignment presentation of phase one. And I just want to jump down here and say that I can't grade this. I can't give you credit for this because this is where you would get your presentation. So the presentation you were supposed to schedule last week, that was supposed to be given this week, and that's where this grade. So just simply putting a presentation in here doesn't cover the requirements of the actual live presentation that you were supposed to give. So if we open this guy up right here, we take a look at your presentation, and then you're back to Los Angeles again. So now I'm really, really super confused. So you're back to Los Angeles in your written writing, but you have the same sketches that you included for Kiruna, Sweden. Okay, so now I'm completely confused. Now, don't forget, I won't be able to give credit for this because you haven't scheduled your meeting, and you were supposed to have that scheduled. We're already halfway through week four, and you haven't scheduled your meeting yet. So I don't think we're going to be able to hold our meetings because the schedule is booked through. So that's an issue. So I would expect there to be some deductions there for not scheduling and holding your meeting. Now over here in Project 2 Concept Design Final, let's take a look what you have there. And if we look in there, this would be your final for week four. We look in there and you can see that you have a submission. So if we take a look at that, we can see that it's the same. Okay, so now you talk about, I think this would be a good game for logo for the games because a good job emphasizing the winter nature of the games is the climate of the area of the games. Now in this project, you never even mention your city. So as you can see, excuse me. Sorry, so you've jumped from Los Angeles to Kiruna, Sweden, back to Los Angeles, and now in this particular presentation, you haven't even mentioned a city. So I'm just kind of really lost as to what kind of direction you're taking here. Let me show you where you should be for week four. Okay, so you got your logos, your final logos, okay? But for week four, if we jump over to week four, and let me just do this really quickly. I want to jump over to week four so we can see exactly what is due. And before we do that, we'll jump into week three to see what was due there. So week three, final presentation, that was right here, where this was what was due for week three. You had to begin to organize your thoughts in a written draft, 6 solid sketches of your logo, concept, pictograms, and as many other identity elements as you can. Make sure they're unique and relevant to your host city. That's why I was concerned you never mentioned the host city there, so we've got some issues. And then format your concepts in a story. Okay, so that was your 6 logos. Now, if we jump back here and go to week four, let's see what's due during week four. So let's just preview that. And during week four, this is what's due. You will have solidified your visual interpretation down to a minimum of 3 options. Okay, that means you have 3 final logos that you're presenting. Each of those final logos should have submitted with them a written story behind the logo, Okay, the actual logo itself, that's the finished logo, digital version. That's your identity. Your refined sketches for the logo and the associated pictograms for the logo. So as we look at your presentation for that, we see you've got just your final sketches. Okay, so you've got your final sketches, you've got some pictograms, but for each one of these, you've got logo 1, 2, and 3. So that's great, but what you would need to do is give me the written rationale behind this and type that up, because I can't read that. Like this, like you've done here. Type up your written rationale for each of your logos. Oh, there it is, I see. Okay, and then you have your final sketch, then you have your final logo right next to it. Okay, then you have your pictograms associated with that logo. Okay, then you have your written story. Okay, so you have your written story, your final digital logo, your refined sketches for the logo, and your pictograms for the logo. All right, and that's really important. Otherwise, it's just not going to grade well at all. Let me show you a couple of things since we didn't do your presentation this week. I want to show you a couple of things. This is really important. If you take a look at the announcements area, and it's really important that you take a look at these announcements because I describe things in detail here. But for example, this welcome to week 4, this video right here describes exactly what you need to show for week 4. Let me show you what that is. Don't forget to look at that video in its entirety. But if we jump over here, I'm going to go over to week 7 because there's some examples here of student submissions, successful student submissions for the final project. For the course project. So let's take a look at what we have here. What I want to look at is this Santiago, Chile Winter Olympics. And this is where you need to be for week 4, okay? This is the presentation. There's the table of contents. Here's all the pages with that phase 1, all that research that we did. This is how you present it in your final presentation. Okay, and then what I want to get at is phase 2, conceptual design, logo, and the general look and feel of your branding. So we jump over here. This is what's due week 4. You'll have something like this, okay? So you'll have your final sketches. Okay, for example, you pick 3 logos, the 3 logos, okay? You render it out digitally to your final logo. You give your sketches, okay, and then you have to give your pictograms as well as your written story behind the logo. So again, refined sketches, written story, pictograms, final logo. 3 versions. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3 for this particular example. Okay, so that is at the very minimum what would be due for week 4. So I don't know if you want to resubmit or how you want to do this, but I just want to make sure that you're on the same page because it seems like you're kind of jumping around a little bit in the project. So just want to get you kind of reeled back in, and please let me know if this makes sense. Contact me. I really want you to get back on track here because I think that you're kind of derailing a little bit. All right. Hope that makes sense. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Okay. Thank you.